It was a crisp autumn evening in the small town of Callahan Ridge, where the worn-out roads led to a quiet army base nestled between towering pines. The base had been here for decades, mostly forgotten by the outside world, yet it housed some of the finest soldiers in the country. Private Cole Turner had just finished his late shift, his boots clapping against the concrete sidewalk. As he walked back to the barracks, he was a quiet, unassuming guy in his early 20s, skin tanned from long hours under the sun, hands rough from the weight of discipline, but his eyes, those were a different story behind them. You could see the shadows of things he'd seen and done in the service, the kind of things that shaped a man's soul. Across town, a group of bikers known as the Black Vultures rolled in, revving their engines as they entered the gas station. They were notorious troublemakers, a gang that lived for chaos, drugs, extortion, street racing. Nothing was off limits for them. They'd heard about the small base, and from experience knew that military folk were easy targets for their brand of fun. The gang's leader, X, a towering man covered in tattoos and scars, had a particular fondness for picking on the quiet ones, the soldiers who kept to themselves. They had been causing a ruckus for days, now stirring up trouble at bars, threatening the locals, and making everyone's life miserable. It wasn't personal, just their brand of fun. But when Rex and his crew cruised down the street toward the base's gate that night, they had no idea they were about to make a deadly mistake. Cole, heading toward the barracks, heard the roar of engines. He glanced over his shoulder and saw the group of bikers pulling up outside the entrance to the base. They were revving their engines, taking turns doing donuts, trying to provoke anyone who'd bite. Rex, sensing the tension, strutted up to the main gate and gave the guard a crooked smile. "Hey, Soldier Rex," called out, his voice slurred from too many drinks. "You think you can stop us? This is America. We do what we want." The guard, a young private fresh out of boot camp, tensed up, but kept his hand on his radio. He wasn't about to let these thugs run wild. But he wasn't trained for direct confrontation either. Rex, seeing the hesitation, scoffed and gestured for his gang to move closer, circling the base as if they owned the place. From behind the guard post, Cole watched the scene unfold. He was just a few yards away, his instincts kicking in. He could tell something was about to go down, and he wasn't about to let it escalate. Rex caught sight of Cole, and with a smirk, he motioned for his crew to back him up. "Well, well, well," Rex called out. "Looks like we got ourselves a hero." Cole stood still, his posture calm and steady, but his eyes locked with Rex's, unwavering. "You're on military property. You need to leave," he said quietly, his voice carrying a quiet authority. The bikers laughed. "What's this, the tough guy act?" Rex mocked, stepping closer, his boots crunching on the gravel. "You think you can talk to me like that?" "I'm not talking to you," Cole replied, his voice still even. "I'm giving you an order." It was then that Rex, driven by the alcohol and the need to assert dominance, lunged at Cole. The next few seconds moved in slow motion. Cole's training kicked in. He didn't react with anger or fear. He just moved fluidly, almost like a reflex. With a swift motion, Cole sidestepped Rex's attempt to grab him, and in one fluid move, he disarmed Rex's knife from his hand and slammed him into the dirt. The other bikers, surprised by the speed and precision, took a step back. Cole didn't wait for them to make a move. He dropped into a defensive stance, his eyes scanning the group. Rex, stunned and humiliated, pulled himself up from the dirt, wiping blood from his lip. "You don't know who you're messing with," he growled, his pride shattered. But Cole didn't respond. He didn't need to. "Leave now," he said again, his voice low, calm but deadly. The bikers exchanged uncertain glances. They could see the training in his posture, the focus in his eyes. They knew the game had changed. Rex, though stubborn, could see that this wasn't a fight he could win. His gang wasn't prepared for someone like Cole. "Get the hell out of here," Rex finally spat, turning his back and signaling for the others to leave. The roar of engines filled the air as the bikers turned their bikes around and sped off into the night, vanishing into the winding roads. The soldiers on the base gathered around Cole, who stood in place, unshaken. His uniform was crisp, his hands steady, but there was a fire in his chest, a fire that burned with every challenge faced, with every threat neutralized. He didn't need to prove anything. He had already shown them who the wrong person was to mess with. Quiet settled back over the base. Cole turned and walked toward the barracks. He wasn't a hero. He was just doing his job. But in that moment, the bikers learned a lesson they wouldn't forget. There's no such thing as an easy target on a military base, especially not with soldiers like Private Cole Turner around.